Welcome back to Marvel Therapy Group. This is the first episode after Avengers Endgame came out. So this is the end of an era and the beginning of a new one. And after Endgame, we definitely need a therapy session. So, as always, I'm Joe.
I'm Connor.
And this is Marvel Therapy Group.
Dreaming about teaming up with a superhero? Heartbroken about the latest comic death? Do you find your conversations always turning to Marvel? Then welcome Marvelites to your therapy session. Join your hosts as we explore the realms of the Marvel Universe, taking you into new insights, movie reviews, and debates. Here, we won't try to cure any obsessions, but fuel them, because the world is better nerdy. Welcome to your Marvel Therapy Group.
Alright, welcome back to Marvel Therapy Group, as I said before. And this is the first episode after Endgame. We are going to do a brief reactions to Endgame, so no spoilers for a minute or two. Then we'll go to spoilers, and we will give you full disclosure when we start talking about spoilers. So, Connor, what's your first reaction after watching Endgame?
It was a definite emotional roller coaster. Oh, we're not supposed to say much about it, right? Besides,
I don't think it's
aspects of it. Yeah, it was just an emotional roller coaster because it kind of made you relive parts again of
Really
it.
was.
So it was like you were getting Infinity War and Endgames thrown together, and it was just such an emotional roller coaster, and you're kind of just like, well, I don't know what else they're going to do, and then, of course, they come back in and top it with something else, and you're like, well, yeah, it was an emotional roller coaster for sure. That was my initial. I was like, after the credits, I was just like, which there's no scene at the end, which is sad, but I was kind of like, I was like, damn. Like, you kind of just like, what the heck just happened? You're trying to like sit there and digest what you just saw, and you were just like, wow.
It was a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
It was, like you were saying, it was a great tribute to the characters, to the MCU, the 11-year MCU stories, and to the fans.
Yeah,
I feel like it catered to the fans and what people wanted.
It was
to
such
see.
like I said, I wasn't anticipating it to be horrible, but they even shocked me with a lot of stuff that they thrown in there because I was kind of anticipating. Like, originally, I was like, what I thought was going to happen, they demolished in the first 20 minutes of the movie, so I was like, well, they're going to go with this. And it actually didn't feel like 3 hours.
No.
It felt less than 3 hours, so.
It's like Infinity War never felt like 2.5 hours either.
Is that how long that one was?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, this movie definitely did not feel like 3 hours.
No. Well, because it kept going, and I didn't feel like there really was a lull point in it. Because some movies, like, there's a lull point worth, like, 10 minutes where you're just kind of like, all right, kind of giving you a breather. And I work at a movie theater, and then even they told me that there's, like, a lull in the movie. But after watching it, I was like, I don't know where the lull was. Because, like, people will come out at that time, go to the bathroom. And I was like, I can't remember the time where it would be such a lull.
I can only think of 2 points that would classify as lull points. And,
Yeah.
well, no spoilers, but that would be involving Black Widow. Like, the 2 scenes involve Black Widow and Thor. But we can talk about that later.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that there were 3 very distinct acts.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped break it up enough to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it flowed really well.
Yeah. What was your reaction?
Oh, of course. I loved it.
Yep.
Yeah, there's that, like, 20 minutes and you're like, don't forget to breathe.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
thanks, I am now.
Yeah.
It was great. I liked it better than Infinity War. Not that it's a competition, but
Yeah.
I liked it a lot better.
Yeah. There were still also aspects of Infinity War that I enjoyed too. But like I said, the only beef that I had with Infinity War before was the fact that, like, if you're going to have that many, like, high-level actors and characters in it, like, why wouldn't you go all the way out anyways?
Right.
Like, unless they had maybe their budget wasn't nearly as big as it was. I mean, it was probably big, but it probably may not have been as big as Infinity War, since this is kind of, like, capping the whole, like you said, 11 years of the MCU. And there were probably, like, maybe they didn't have a budget. I'm interested to see what the budget was, just out of curiosity, because they had all the big name actors in there. Yeah. And they brought a lot of people back in this one that they didn't have in Infinity War, which I thought should have been in Infinity War.
Right. I've always said that too. That that annoyed me about Infinity War is that you call it the biggest crossover event in recent history, but then you don't have all the characters.
Yeah.
You don't even have all the characters meet in that movie.
Yeah. So, should we put the disclaimer in now? We're going to talk about the spoilers, or is there something else you want to say?
Oh, wait. Endgame had a budget of $356 million.
Really? I was expecting it to be a little bit more than that.
Oh, want to talk about the box office?
Yeah, didn't it demolish the first day?
It's already made $1.2 billion.
Yeah, that's what you knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, even if this movie totally bombed, which none of us thought it would, but if it did, they still would have made money off of that one night, that opening night alone. And people still would have saw it, whether people said it bombed or not. Like,
yeah,
they were going to it was going to win no matter what.
Yeah, our last episode we had predictions, and I think I said 1.6, and
I was thinking 1.7 or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but it was something, yeah.
We're close.
Yeah.
I mean, we were right. It definitely broke $1 billion. And it's still climbing, obviously.
Yep.
It'll be climbing for weeks.
Yep.
I know I'm going to see it again.
Tuesday.
Yes. The day after this episode drops.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, spoilers?
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers. Okay, we're going into spoilers. So if you have not seen Endgame yet, pause this, go see Endgame, and then resume this podcast at around when you paused it, like 6 minutes. And then continue listening to it. So we're going to talk about spoilers right now. Okay. I think that's clear.
Yeah. Well, you hope so. Do you want to go first? You want to go?
Yeah, actually, I'll talk about the 2 lull points first.
Okay.
I already brought those up. I think it was when, after the 5-year time jump, and we see Black Widow, she's in the chair and talking to the holograms of different characters.
Oh, yeah.
And then they go away and Captain America comes in.
Oh, yeah, that was kind of a lull.
Kind of, yeah. Still important, but that was one lull point. And then I think the other one was when Thor meets his mom.
Oh,
again,
yeah. But that wasn't really... It was a low point, but I wouldn't say that was a big low point because...
No, definitely not.
They were getting that... what was it? The thing from Natalie the stone from Natalie Portman.
Yep, and he got his hammer. He got some closure because he got to say bye to his mom, I guess.
Yeah.
But, if you had to Peter in the movie, that would be the point to do it.
Yeah.
Just as long as you get back before he gets the hammer.
You could also make a debate, too, with the whole, Tony Stark seeing his dad again, too.
Oh, yeah.
Because they kind of dragged that whole conversation out that he was talking to him again and, pretending that obviously it wasn't his son. Pretending he wasn't his son. That's another one, too. Because, you saw... he literally grabs the... what does he grab? The cube?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he puts it in the briefcase, and then it's just about him talking about him, having a son and stuff like that and giving him advice. So, that's kind of a lull, too.
You're right. That whole conversation dragged.
Yeah.
I mean, not in a bad way. It just...
No,
dragged.
but I just think it was kind of bookending the storyline.
Yeah.
Or Iron Man's storyline. Although I have to say, going back to the beginning, the intro scene, I thought that was awesome.
That was with Tony Stark and Nebula, right?
No. I'm talking Hawkeye and his family.
Yeah.
I like that because it was kind of when I first sat down, I was like, I don't know how you're going to jump right into this. Because I didn't know if they were going to jump time right away or they were going to wait like they obviously did. But I just liked the way how it kind of just fed into it. Because it was kind of recapping you knew people were snapped, but you didn't know exactly who and exactly how many people. And I liked it because they didn't... Obviously, Hawkeye wasn't in Infinity War. So that was a nice little, he gets his own little, intro solo thing.
That was good,
he was affected too, even though he wasn't in the first movie. I thought that was good. I liked that scene a lot.
Me too. Yeah, I did like how he got so much more screen time in this movie. I mean, any screen time would be more than he had in Infinity War, but
yeah,
he had a pretty good arc for this movie.
Yeah, and I mean his whole reasoning for what he was doing was very justified. I think
Yeah, he was like, my family died, but these murderers get to survive.
Yeah, and I kind of sympathized with him, even though, like, obviously my family's not dead. But, like, it's like, you feel for him because it's just, like, he honestly, he lost his entire family. Like, he had no one. It wasn't like he had his daughter or one of his sons or just his wife. Like, he lost everything.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like...
That must have been so scary, too, because you're out in the middle of a field, and you don't know what's happening in the world, and then your family just disappears. Like, how long do you stay there before you leave, I guess?
And it was... And I kind of liked how they did the same thing for Ant-Man, too.
Yeah.
Where he came back and he kind of had his solo moment where he was just, found his daughter and kind of things like that. What I thought the Russo brothers did a good job with kind of like, they acknowledged that they weren't in the other one and then kind of just threw him into the ball with everyone else. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, Hawkeye and Ant-Man were affected at the same thing too.
Yeah, they even did a good job bringing Ant-Man back. It was just this rat that happened to walk on the quantum panel.
Yeah.
But it was after the 5-year time jump, so it's like, alright, that was almost bound to happen.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, like, too coincidental. It worked.
But it was also, too, you're kind of like, well, how are they going to bring Ant-Man into this?
Yeah.
Because even I forgot that he was in the quantum realm for a moment. Until that they showed the van again, I was like, ah, yes.
Yeah, that was Ken Jeong's part. He was the security
I thought
guard.
he was going to have more. I thought he was going to have at least one speaking line.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Like, if you didn't know Kim Jong was in that, you would have been like, huh. I mean, Kim Jong. Oh, my God. Not the North Korean dictator. Kim Jong. It was interesting that they made a big deal that he was going to be in it, but he was in it for like a brief... He literally like had a Stan Lee type of cameo.
Yeah. And then another woman from Community, the one who played Shirley, wasn't she?
Oh, she was in the elevator.
Yeah, she was...
In that,
yeah, that was
in the
her.
1970s for that one when they went there, yeah.
Yeah, I saw her and I'm like, oh, I know who that is too.
I also like how they crossed over the other movies into it. Like, I think the whole like script itself just flowed
that was
nicely.
so well done. Yeah, like I was saying, it's tribute to the rest of the movies.
And I think that's hard to do, to make it flow nicely, because obviously they were at different points. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting, especially like when they went back to Stark Tower and in the first Avengers movie. I like that because it's flowed. Mm-hmm. You know, like how sometimes when you see it, like they do flashbacks in movies and you can clearly tell like the person that like you're seeing, their back is to you. You can clearly tell that it wasn't them.
Yeah.
That it's a stunt double or stand-in or something like that for them. I thought this whole thing felt pretty like flowed and was very believable, if that makes sense.
And I loved how they used footage from the first Avengers movie, or like any of the flashbacks that they had, or the time travel to different movies they had.
Yeah.
Like they had that iconic scene from the Avengers where they're all in a circle in the Battle of New York and the camera pans around to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. And I like how they showed Hulk.
Yes.
Hulk and Hulk.
That was
He was
funny.
just kind of like reacting to himself, and then he's like, ah.
Yeah, Captain America's like, you need to blend in. You should smash some stuff.
It was interesting how they had the Hulk in there, where he was a cross between
Did you
Banner.
like that?
It was interesting, but I was expecting him to go either way after a while. Like, I was expecting him either to go back to human or going back to the Hulk. Mm-hmm. But I kind of liked it.
I loved that.
I thought it was an interesting dynamic.
And I didn't mind that it just suddenly happened. I think I was so shocked still that it was a 5-year time jump that they could throw anything and be like,
I mean,
wow, okay. A lot happened
could
in 5
you...
years.
Maybe this is just me, but I feel like they could... The movie would have been perfectly fine without the time jump.
Yeah.
Maybe not like necessarily like a 5-year time jump, but if you did a year or two. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't... Like, maybe I missed something, but I didn't know what was so essential to have that time jump in there. Besides... Captain America, well, that was actually before the time jump, deciding to shave his beard.
Yeah.
And then Captain Marvel got a haircut. And then Black Widow decided to grow her hair out. It was just like, I don't know
and Hulk's transformation.
Yeah.
And Tony Stark and Pepper had a kid.
And I maybe that was it, because it basically underlining the whole storyline was about Iron Man and his life. Mm-hmm. Kind of bookending it from, 2008 to now. And it was kind of more about him. Even like I worked in a movie theater and some woman spoiled it for me like right off the bat. Like she said something about she that came out and what did she say? Oh, she's like, oh man, all that Iron Man stuff is gonna be worth something now, a little bit more now. And I was like, it took me 30 seconds to like digest what that was, and I was like, wait. And I turned to one of my coworkers and I was like, Jess, did she just? And she goes, yep. And I was like, damn it. I mean, I don't think she did it to be like on purpose. Like I think she just was like talking about it because we asked her how the movie was, and I think she took it to a literal like how was the movie, like we wanted to know, not like a simple good or bad kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, you knew someone was gonna die.
Yeah.
It was either gonna be between Captain America or it was gonna be between Iron Man because they were
Yeah.
the two head honchos of the group. So I also like the ending for Captain America too.
That was a good story for him.
It just, the only thing that like annoyed me about it too was the fact that he gave the shield away, and I was like, really? I was like, now you're gonna reboot it as Black Captain America? You know what I mean? Like you're gonna like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was kind of like they were like nudging the shield to him, like
To Falcon.
to like, hey, your character really insignificant in the series, so we're just gonna give you a brand new thing. You know what I mean? And I understand like the theory behind it, but I feel like, you know, like I said, they're gonna reboot this in another 50 years anyway, so it didn't really matter. But it's like, it would be, for me, it would be weird. Like even like when they rebooted the Spider-Man franchise, like I grew up watching the Tobey Maguire one, so that was kind of like the thing, and it was weird when they brought in Andrew Garfield kind of thing, and I was like, that bothered me. But I like how they made him old, how he went back in time when it was kind of like lived the life that he wanted to live with the girl he always wanted to be with. You know, and I'd like that whole storyline, but the fact that he gave him the shield, I was like, man, you die with that shield.
Oh.
That was his shield.
No, I liked it. I don't know if you know, but in the comics, Falcon did take over for Captain America.
Oh, so that's
One
what I
point.
didn't know.
Yeah, so like that was a good nod to the comics too. I just loved how they brought in all the characters. Like in the Battle of New York, we saw the Ancient One on Bleecker Street, Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, you're not helping me here.
The Hulk went to her to get the Time Stone.
Oh, well, I never saw Doctor Strange.
Oh, right.
That's why I didn't know.
Yeah. Oh no, I
You should have
love
just said it, the bald-headed woman. I would have been like,
bald-headed
yeah.
And that was really cool to see. One, that she was helping during the Battle of New York. She was on top of the building, like throwing Chitauri out of the sky.
Oh yeah.
That was really cool because that's the
Was
thing.
she in the end? The
In the
final
end.
battle? I don't think she was.
No.
Oh no, she may have been. She may have been one of the people who was transporting people through the.
No, she died in Doctor Strange. So when they time traveled, she was still alive at that point.
Oh.
So no, she wasn't around.
I also kind of like how she was like, oh, she like basically gave a middle finger to Doctor Strange after Hulk told him what he did. Not she did, but he did.
Yeah,
It was
And
interesting.
that was really cool to see that she knows the future. Like
Mm-hmm.
she knew the future because she was like, Stephen Strange, you're 5 years early. First of all, and then she said,
Oh, I like how she
"Stephen
knew that right off the bat.
Yeah, that was so good. And she's like, Stephen Strange is 20 blocks that way doing surgery right now.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's like I said, like that's the one thing that didn't really actually like register. Cause obviously I didn't see that movie. There's still a handful of movies I haven't seen.
I thought it was cool though because, like, that's a huge thing in all these Avengers movies. Like, where were the Wakandans and where were the magicians? But they were helping, as we saw. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe in like Sokovia, like where were the Wakandans? Because they probably had some technology to
Yeah, it was.
stop the island from falling.
I kind of liked Fat Thor.
Yeah.
And like I had a debate the other day with one of my coworkers about it because he's seen it, and he's like, I don't understand why they made Thor fat. And I was like, well, first of all, he's very depressed.
Yeah.
About everything. He feels like Infinity War was his fault. And then
Oh wait, sorry, that's another thing. But the 5-year time jump, I really felt like it gave perspective to how bad
yeah,
the snap.
yeah.
I
Well,
don't
because
know,
I
how
even
bad was
I,
it?
well, and the other thing I leaned over and told you was I was like, I like how like it was basically like a Walking Dead like desolate place, like there was nothing
Right.
there, but they all had new Audis and stuff like that, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, you don't have enough money, you can't find food, but they still are pumping out new Audis left and right, and I know Audi's like one of their big like sponsors. They've been in I think since 2008, the first one I think has been their sponsor, so like I understand that, but like that was weird for me because I was like, how are you paying money to get these cars?
Yeah.
Because they clearly like weren't like, because it first took place in what 2019, like that took place present day, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
No. It took place 21 days, like 22 days after Infinity War.
So that
it'd
was
still be 2018.
2018. So it was like, what, a 5-year jump? So
23.
Yeah, 2023, and now it was like they were busting out new technology then, or like, hey, the world's apocalyptic, but like, hey, come buy your new Audi.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing that was weird for me.
But you saw that they never recovered. Whereas if it had been a year jump, it'd be like, okay, they haven't had time to recover yet. But this was like, no, the world's over.
Yeah, and I also like how I said when we first see Captain America again, he shaves his beard. Mm-hmm. Like, is that your first initial reaction? Oh God, 21 days later, my friends still aren't here. That was 21 days later, right?
Yeah.
And
everyone's dead.
Yeah, I gotta shave my beard.
He was like, no one's around to judge me anymore. I'll just shave.
Yeah.
Or maybe what it was is that
and then Tony Stark was the same thing. He's like, I gotta shave, and I was like what? What? You're like, you get back with all your Avenger friends, and I know you're bitter as hell about everything, but I was like, in your first reaction, like, I gotta shave. He, like, what? There was weird obsessions with certain things in that. It was like, shaving was like a new one. I was like, is that essential? Like, 21 days later, Captain America still hasn't shaved his beard yet, and I'm wondering why. Like...
It could be that they lost, and the world's over, the Sokovia Accords don't really matter, so he's not in hiding anymore, so he just goes back to how he looked.
Like, he honestly looked that much different with a beard on. Yeah. He's walking down the street, people like, you look like Captain America, but you got a beard, so you're definitely not Captain America.
Yeah.
Going back to the Thor thing.
Yeah.
He was like, what? Yeah, he was like, I'm surprised he didn't, like, change his look. And he's like, or something, I can't remember exactly what the argument was, but I was like, he's a Greek god, He he's a Greek god, right?
Norse. But yeah.
Oh, yeah, Norse. Well, there's so many gods. And the he's a Norse god, yeah. So I was like, he easily could have, like, snapped his fingers and, like, changed himself back, right? Because he was, like, a god?
I don't know.
But, because, like, in any of the other movies he was in, you didn't see him sitting there pumping iron to stay in shape. Like, he wasn't going to a gym. Like, I'm sure he didn't own a gym membership.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's a god. He has powers. He can do whatever he wants.
And we do see that in Infinity War when he gets like, after he's at the forge and he gets blasted with the star and he's unconscious, but the axe comes to him and he's just, like, revived and in full battle armor.
Yeah.
So
and
there must be
some...
there must be some transformation.
And maybe it's like, I don't know, maybe it was like a psychological thing where he just couldn't get himself to change himself back kind of thing, or I don't know. I was just, like, it was funny though. Especially when they said Big Lebowski. Like, that was funny.
And he fell asleep during one of the meetings.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when they asked him a question, is he alive? Is he asleep?
I think he's dead.
Yeah. The humor was good too in this one. I mean, the humor's always good in them. Except Captain Marvel. But like I told Joe when we saw it, I was like, after seeing her in this movie, I actually have like a newfound respect for her and the character.
Yeah, I remember we've talked about before, if Captain Marvel ends up finding Tony Stark and Nebula and, like, bringing them back to Earth, that would just be really dumb. But I think I think it's the Captain Marvel post-credit scene where there's a pager, Black Widow turns around and there's Captain Marvel and she says, "Where's Fury?"
Yeah.
So we see her, she meets the Avengers first on Earth. So I think it'd be pretty easy for them to be like, yeah, we're still, like, we know you come from space. We're still missing some people. They were last seen.
Well,
here,
it could also been too. She made
them.
that point too when someone was like, "We need your help here," and she goes, "Earth wasn't the only one that was affected by this kind of thing."
Yeah, she says there were thousands of planets in this exact situation.
Yeah. And maybe she was just happened to going somewhere and she saw that. Or maybe, like you said, the Avengers were like, hey, they were on this planet last time we talked to them, kind of thing.
Yeah, and either way, it worked.
Well, that's another thing. That whole scene before she rescues him, I thought Tony died right then.
Yeah.
Because the way they were filming it, and I was like, ooh, he looks like hell.
Yeah, it looked like Nebula checked his pulse.
Yeah.
But then she just propped him up and...
in the chair, and I was like...
his shoulder. Yeah, I thought he died.
And I was like... Because he looked white as a ghost. I was like, oh, no. Because you didn't see his chest moving or anything like that. He was kind of just laying there, and I was like, is it that essential to put him in the chair after he died? Like, because I knew he mentioned before, he was like, oh, we only have enough air for the morning or something like that, so I thought, like, that was the morning, and she was like, Because she's robot, right? So she doesn't
That's what I was
necessarily need
thinking
oxygen.
too. That's what I was thinking too. That maybe she can survive longer because she's all robotic.
Is she all robotic? I thought she was part. Was she always robotic, or was she part human at one point?
No, she not human, but whatever race
Yeah.
whatever alien species she was. But no, it's explained in Guardians 2, I think. I don't know, one of the Guardians, that Thanos would pit her and Gamora against each other in training, and whoever lost, he would analyze that and see what fault they had and then replace it with a robotic thing.
So Gamora won every time, basically?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. There was the humor was good in this, too. I like the humor.
Yeah, it fit, actually.
Yeah. It was good because it was spread out, so it wasn't like every other line was like a comedic line.
And it wasn't trying to be a stand-up comedy show. It was well-placed humor to make you smirk, not full-on laugh.
We laughed at... There was a couple of lines. What were the lines that we laughed at?
Rocket's line. He's listening he laughs. It's like, Quill, Groot, the chick with antenna.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the chick with the antenna. I like how you said one antenna, but she has two, right?
Antenna. That's the plural.
No, I'm saying she has two, but he said she had one. The girl with the antenna.
Antenna is plural.
No, he said antenna. He said one.
You specifically said one
Yeah,
antenna.
he said the chick with the antenna.
The antenna, meaning the plural antenna.
No, is it antennas?
No.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
Antenna is one. Antennas. Right?
No.
Is two?
No. We're gonna look this up.
That's how it has to be. Then what's the plural of antennas? Maybe you're right. I don't know.
Yeah, the plural of antenna is antennae.
Yeah, he said
AE.
he said antenna, meaning one. So plural is more than one.
Well,
antennae means two. He said
sounds
antenna.
the same. Antenna and antennae.
No, antenna, antennae.
Antennae.
So I was right. He said one, which is funny because that's one of his friends, and he only thought she had one antenna. Yeah, and then the whole scene with Hawkeye and Black Widow. That was like another sucker punch because it made you relive that scene. Like, even though, like I said, I wasn't a fan of Gamora. Like, I can understand on that level when she died. I was like, now I know what people felt like when they had.
Yeah, that was a crushing scene. And they didn't go to them right away. They switched between New York and Asgard a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But like I realized that these two people are going to Vormir, and in order to get the Soul Stone, someone has to die. So as soon as they panned to that scene, I was like, nope, one of them is gonna die.
I should have punched the Red Skull off though.
I thought of that too. I thought that like it would be comedic almost. They were just like, okay,
yeah,
they need a life, bye, and just push the Red Skull off. But no.
But I don't think he was. I think he was an apparition.
Yeah.
Because the way his cloak was like disintegrating at the end, but then he had like a full cloak at the same time.
Yeah, that was a crushing scene, and it really got you because each one of them jumped off the cliff like 3 times.
I like that scene though. It made you feel like it wasn't a recreation of the original scene.
Right.
You know, like really they genuinely cared about each other kind of thing. And it would have been interesting if they didn't make them go together. Like if it was someone else, like it was like Hawkeye and I don't know.
But again, I think it wrapped up the story really well because they had chemistry and history in the first Avengers.
Yeah.
But then
like, so was he married before?
I don't know.
Because I knew that they had like a thing.
Yeah, it seemed like
they had like a weird love triangle because the Hulk also had a thing for her because they acknowledged that because remember she would like touch his arm.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Which came out of nowhere in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of like, well, what happened to you and Hawkeye? But then they gave Hawkeye a family and it was weird. And it was still weird in Infinity War. Which, again, is why the 5-year time jump I think worked because it's like, okay, you have plenty of time to process this. The Hulk is... Bruce Banner is the Hulk now. Nothing's happening between them.
Yeah.
And they could just drop it easily.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anyone liked that. Natasha.
Well, it was weird. It came out of left field. And then I was like, well, it was also weird that her and Hawkeye had a thing because I was like, well, if he was married when they first met, then this whole love story is kind of weird because he has his family. Mm-hmm. But he also loved her, but he was very emotional when his family, because that was his whole story, was his revenge story. But then he was like, I also like this girl too. And I was like...
But them going to Vormir was also a good bookend on that story. Like they acknowledged they both meant a lot to each other.
That's what I was saying though. But like So he loved both of them, right? He loves his wife, but he also loves
Well, no, I think he loves his wife, but he loved Black Widow as...
But wouldn't he have to push his wife off the cliff because it has to be someone that you love and care about? Is it care about or is it love about?
In the Infinity War, I remember it was like the thing you loved most, but here they were just saying a soul for a soul.
So they changed the rules.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
But you know what I mean, though? Like, if he was, like, his whole revenge story was him trying to find his family, or get him revenge on his family who all died while everyone else got to live. Not everyone else, but you know what I mean? Like, the people, the scum of the earth got to live. But then he's like, oh, I like this. Well, he didn't come out and obviously say, but he was like, oh, I love this girl, too. She's not coming back. That was like...
I mean, no, they had chemistry. I just don't think it was a romantic chemistry. They were just, like, kindred
I don't know.
spirits.
I'm just saying that was a little, like... For me, that I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because he was like, oh, and then he started crying when his wife called on the phone. I was like, but dude, Scarlett Johansson just died. Like, I was like, ugh.
Yeah. Well, again, it's been 5 years.
Yeah, but he was still emotional when his wife called on the phone. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. There was it was weird to me because for what Thanos had to do to get that stone, and we're kind of like, you gotta care about her kind of thing. And then for Thanos, it's like you got someone you love the most or whatever it was. That was I don't know.
I thought Thanos was so much worse in this movie.
Oh yes,
because he went from. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Thanos was a real dick in this movie because I kept thinking the entire time. Because I was like, when they figured out that they could go back in time, kind of thing, I was like, all right. I was like, I was like, is Thanos gonna be in this a lot? And then he goes through whatever her face was. What's her name? Nebula. Yeah.
Yeah.
To go through Nebula and was like, oh, this is what they're doing, and I was just like, every move, and then it turned from him trying to right the world or something like that, to like, oh, everyone hates me or everyone's going against what I want. I'm just gonna kill everything.
Yeah, it went from like, not to defend him, but it went from genuinely trying to help the universe to, I'm just gonna rewrite the universe.
Well, and that's what you said on the way home too. How we discussed, like, you were like, how you could have some sort of like, you were like, I understand to a degree what Thanos was going for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I talked about it in like last episode or 2 episodes. I was like, Thanos is an ecologist. He's probably a vegan.
Yeah, and then we didn't even acknowledge that we didn't even talk about that scene when they find him on his planet.
Yeah, we'll have to get to that.
Oh, well, let's finish this one first then. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think we got a much bigger sense of his
douchiness.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what he was. I was like, man, Thanos is such a dick. Every time like he did something, I was like, wow.
Yeah. This movie genuinely stressed me out because, I mean, like, you get in every movie that point where it's like, oh no, everything's going downhill, everything's falling apart. But this was a huge scale of things falling apart. We had Loki escape and them not getting the Tesseract, and then it went to Thanos tracking them through time, and then coming to present time. And it was like, everything's falling apart, but everything's falling apart for a really long time. And then Black Widow dies. Yeah.
It's like a slippery slope that you just can't get traction on. Yeah. They started you off like on the slope. Right? They just threw you right down the slope right away. With
it started off really well. Let's talk about that now. You had said that everything you thought was going to happen in the movie happened in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I thought it was, them trying to locate Thanos and destroying Thanos again.
Yeah.
And then the first 20 minutes, they find him, chop his head off, well, Thor chops his head off, and then was just like, I was like, oh, how the hell are they going to go back? And then you mentioned that you thought there was going to be some sort of going back in time aspect within the movie at some point. That was good. Yeah.
I like how the Hulk, or Bruce Banner, whatever you want to call him now,
Hulk Banner.
Yeah. I like how he addressed the rules of time travel, and he was like, no, everything that you think you know is wrong. He said something about how if you go back to the past is now your present, and your future is your past.
Yeah, it was kind of like the thing where he was like, oh, because it was Scott Lang, who was Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Where you can't talk to yourself when you go back in time. Oh, yeah, and then you just couldn't, like, it would mess you up. You know, you'd mess out your future kind of thing. But when Hulk mentioned it, I was like, oh, well, that makes sense.
In a way, it does.
Yeah.
And it allowed them, because obviously no one knows the rules of time travel.
Yeah.
It's not a thing yet
Yeah.
that we know of. So it allowed them to have a lot of liberties in this movie, like Nebula met herself.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Captain America was able to go back and have a life with Peggy. Even though that somehow didn't change the history, because, like, that's the way it was supposed to happen in his life anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can't really follow it.
Yeah.
But
But, like, that's one thing I loved about this movie is they brought everyone back.
they brought everyone.
Except Odin, right?
Yeah.
And then there's someone else you said that they didn't bring back.
Michelle from
Oh, yeah.
Homecoming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they brought
Which
back
was it?
essential characters that I thought were good bookends to kind of tie up the story a little bit more.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Before we talk about that end scene,
Mhm.
which I think everyone's waiting for us to talk about because
Yeah.
it's the best part,
Uh-huh.
Captain Marvel. I love how they used her in the movie.
Well, yeah, it was good. They like I said, I even told you, I was like, for a while I forgot she was in this movie because she was kind of doing her own thing on other planets.
Mm-hmm.
And then they brought her in at the right time, too.
Yes.
Because I was thinking the entire time, I was like, well, Thanos is kicking their asses without the Infinity Stones. I was like, what are they going to do? And then she comes in with the rest of the Avengers after the snap, and I was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot she was in this movie the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah, she was in the beginning and helped out a lot there. It was kind of like, well, you didn't have me. Now we're going to go kill Thanos.
I liked her acting ability in this one a lot better. I thought it wasn't so cut and dry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then she
The
leaves.
haircut.
The haircut was... I think that was that alluded to the comics, too.
Oh,
She
is
has-
that her hairstyle in the comic books?
Yeah, it's short.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, then she goes away saying that there's thousands of planets that need her help, too, because those planets don't have Avengers.
Well, that's what it's good. That's a good point, too, because like I thought it was only the Earth that was affected by this, and it was good that they acknowledged that it was not just the Earth that was affected by it, that the other planets that were affected by it, too. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I was like, all right, that kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm. The entire universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she came in at the end, and she still didn't kill Thanos. She wasn't,
No, yeah.
I don't know, she didn't solve their problems, I guess.
She was kind of like the whole Thor from Infinity War.
Yeah.
Where Thor kind of came out of nowhere again. You're like, oh, yeah, I forgot he was in this movie.
Yeah.
You know?
She
And then-
definitely helped, and it was awesome to see.
Yeah.
But she didn't overpower anyone,
Yeah.
which worked really
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when I didn't cry when she came, but I cried when they opened up the from Doctor Strange and they all came back. So I was like, oh man, they're gonna get their asses kicked again.
Yeah. Who didn't cry at that scene?
And I also, this is what I wanted to say about Thanos, going back to the Thanos thing. I think Thanos is extremely weak. Because I feel like he can never fight anyone on his own. He always has to have some sort of army with him. And I feel like even when it was Captain America, it was Iron Man, and then who was it, Thor? When they were just the three of them versus him.
Yeah.
That I feel like that it was one of those things where it was just like he's weak. I don't know if that's just me, but I feel like every time he went to go fight the Avengers, he always had an army. It's like, do you not trust yourself and your skill ability to take on the Avengers to a point where you're like, oh, I have to have a backup, even though you clearly knew. Well, actually, this was old Thanos, past Thanos, right?
Yeah.
Before he knew that, before the other battle that they had in Wakanda. Yeah, it was just one of those things where I was just like, I don't know. He seems weak, even though he tries to put on, like, he's like, oh, you know, strong kind of thing, you know? I don't know if that was
Like
just me.
physically weak or like emotionally weak?
I think emotionally weak.
Okay.
Because we saw him kick their asses when it was just the three of them.
Yeah, and I was gonna say Captain Marvel can just go through a ship like nothing, but
Yeah.
he can withstand her
Yeah.
punches.
Yeah, and I just think emotionally he was just all over. Like, I just think he's weak, he doesn't trust himself, because it's like, why?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. He doesn't trust himself because he had to get rid of the stones.
Yeah.
He said, I accomplished my goals, and anything else was just temptation, so I atomized them.
Yeah, it's just, you know, maybe that was just me, or he just doesn't trust.
That's really interesting. I mean,
because
like,
he could clearly take them on by himself.
yeah,
It's just like
without the gauntlet.
Without the gauntlet, and it's just like he couldn't. Like, he was kicking their asses with the razor blade looking thing that he had, you know.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I don't know. It just, like, that irritated me about the character, where it was just like, every time he needed a battle, he had to bring an army.
Well, you really can't be stable if if you're hell-bent on murdering, like, quadrillions of people.
No, but you know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, you really need the stones that bad? Like, you like, that's your source
Like
of
his
power?
security device.
Yeah, like, as a security blanket for him?
Yeah.
Like, if he had that gauntlet on without the stones in it, would he still have the same self-confidence, or would he just be cow? I think he was
That's true, because in the beginning, when they go to the garden planet,
Yeah.
he's wearing the gauntlet, even though it doesn't have stones.
Yeah.
Because Thor cuts his arm off.
Yeah. And I just, like, like, even that scene was like, I was like, he knew what was wrong with he knew that the stones would, like, were only one-time use kind of thing. And I just, like, I don't know, I just, like, it was weird. His character is very weird for me. Like, I can't, like, I don't know. I just think he's very emotionally weak. And he just needs the power of the gauntlet or his army behind him, even though his army gets its ass kicked every single time. Well, the last time before that, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that was a scary part when Hawkeye is down. He finds the Infinity Gauntlet, but he fires an arrow and just sees these
dogs looking things, yeah.
These space dogs coming up behind him.
Yeah.
That was actually a scary part.
Yeah. But I cried though when the Avengers came. I was like, thank Christ. You know, like one of those things. Then I cried when Spider-Man came back. I was like, hell yeah. I was like, that's awesome. And then, well, should we talk about the Tony Stark?
Oh no, let's talk about the battle some more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because that's like what everyone's been waiting for. Even in Infinity War, they're like, let's get everyone together. We just want to see this giant battle where everyone faces Thanos.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we got that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, it was a good, sort of, good, I don't even know where I'm going with this.
Like, tribute.
Yeah.
Good gave us closure. They all know about each other now.
Yeah, and it was kind of like, it closed you to the whole storyline, the whole franchise up to that point where it was just like, they're all together, one last, big hurrah, everyone gets their dues, so everyone who was snapped gets, to kick someone's ass, for being snapped, so.
Yeah, so Hulk snapped his fingers, and we didn't see anything happen.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, we're assuming it worked. Oh yeah, because Laura, Hawkeye's wife's name? Laura? I don't know. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she called. Okay, so we knew it worked. But then we actually see that it worked when all those portals open up and everyone just steps through.
Yeah.
And I think you were talking about, you see Captain America, he's the only one standing at the moment, and Thanos
with
brings
half his
army,
shield.
Half his shield, already beaten up, and he's just like, I'm not going to win this, but I have to keep fighting.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way he could survive that.
No. Yeah.
But then everyone comes in. And we get
was the first one we saw with Black Panther.
Yes.
Yeah.
We get the Wakandan armies and the magician armies, so, like, they have their own army. It was great. And then we see some of the characters that deserve to face Thanos get their time facing Thanos alone.
Yeah.
Like Scarlet Witch.
Yep.
That was a very, very memorable moment for me. She just steps forward. She's like, you took everything from me, as she lifts herself up and two giant boulders and just smashes Thanos.
Yeah. Yeah.
I whispered to you, do you like her yet?
I mean, I didn't hate her. I was just like, I had no emotional connection with that character. You know, it's like if you don't have an emotional connection with the character, it doesn't really, like, matter. Like, I don't know, the whole Gamora thing. Like, I didn't have emotional connection because I never saw the movie. So I was like, if I saw the movie, that death would be sad for me. But since I didn't see the movie, I'm kind of like, all right.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I've seen all the movies. Well, not all the movies, but I've seen probably all the movies with Scarlet Witch in them. I mean, Scarlet Witch. Black Widow in them. So that's why that death was emotional for me, because I've seen her in all these movies. And you kind of, like, build a relationship with them.
Yeah.
Hypothetical relationships, obviously. But, like, yeah. I thought she was badass in that, though. Mm-hmm. Like I said, every character that I've seen before that I didn't have any connection with, I didn't feel like really stepped up in this movie. You know, like Captain Marvel, Scarlet Witch, you know.
Yeah, there's actually a comic series called A-Force, which was an all-female team.
Yeah. And
there's been a lot of internet commotion about, like, let's get an A-Force movie. Why haven't these people teamed up yet? And we saw that in the scene where it was we just got all of the female superhero characters
Yeah.
in one area, and then like Pepper comes up in front too.
Oh yeah.
And I saw that and was like, A-Force.
Yeah.
We got it.
Yeah.
And I think that was just another tribute to the fans. Like, we know what you're asking for.
Yeah.
We're alluding to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was really good.
Yep.
I asked after the movie, do you think Paul Bettany felt left out? Like, he was the only one. Like, him and Zendaya were the only ones not in Endgame.
Well, yeah, they probably felt some sort of left out. Well, I mean, Zendaya, the only scene I could possibly see her in was in that end scene at the school.
Right.
Like, she would have been like a cameo kind of role.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have a major role. So she probably didn't feel so bad. She probably did, but it wasn't like, oh, what the heck kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But Paul Bettany, he's like, hey, everyone else's character got brought back.
Yeah.
What about Vision?
Yeah.
They even managed to bring back Gamora and Loki, who also died before the snap. Oh, Heimdall was dead.
Did you notice, though? I think he was there. I think he might have been the driver for Howard Stark. Because
Is that Paul Bettany?
it was his voice. It was a British voice, but I didn't know if it was him because he says, "All right, Jarvis, let's go."
Right. I mean, Jarvis was. Did you ever see Agent Carter?
No.
That was the same actor from Agent Carter.
Oh, so maybe it wasn't. Maybe I was just getting confused because Jarvis's voice was Paul Bettany.
Yeah.
That's why I was a little
But
like.
it was based off of that real guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Jarvis.
Yeah. So can we talk about the Tony Stark now?
Sure. I don't know if I'm ready.
I'll let you start it off because that's your guy.
No, that guy's name is James Darcy.
Oh well, you know what I mean. It sounded like him. I could, but
I was driving, so on Saturday, the day after we saw, I was driving, and like I just started crying because I couldn't stop thinking.
Did you really? Did you really?
Yeah.
Sitting at the light, sobbing, and everyone's like looking over, like, "What is this guy crying about?"
No, it was like 30 seconds of some tears, and I was like, okay, that's out of my system now.
So 30 seconds more, someone could have saw you bawling your eyes out at a stoplight.
But it was unexpected, I think, because I had always predicted that Captain America was going to be the one to die.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, you could have easily knew that he was going to die the way that the storyline and how they were kind of focusing it around him.
Yeah, when you know that's happening, when you start to look at other clues from other movies, it lines up.
Yeah, well, not even just that, but this movie in itself.
Yeah.
Or going back to Infinity War when he thought he was going to have a kid, and then they fast forward 5 years and he has the kid, and then he's with Pepper. And it's just like him building a relationship with his daughter, kind of like how his father built a relationship with him kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, like kind of passing the torch, and you're kind of like, all right.
Kind of
I mean,
bringing his story full circle. And
yeah.
Closing it up.
And like everyone knew one of those two were going to die. Mm-hmm. But like even if, you didn't, after seeing this, you're kind of like, oh, okay, everything kind of like lines up where you're like, since, Iron Man was the first Marvel movie, Iron Man is the first one to go. Kind of thing, like it's a bookend of the franchise kind of thing.
Yeah, it really was, and it was Pepper's line that got to me when. So in the beginning, they're talking about time travel, and he's like, "I'm not gonna do it," and she's like, "Well, you don't have to, but would you ever be able to rest if you don't give it a try?" And like that's huge for his character because he has PTSD from New York still, and just he's very bothered by
blown up and wherever he was in the first movie.
Yeah. And he's never been able to rest. He's always been very stressed.
Yeah.
Almost like the line where, with great power comes great responsibility.
Oh, Spider-Man.
Like, he also thinks that if he doesn't act, things happen because of him.
That's gonna eat him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when Pepper says, "We'll be okay, you can rest now," and then he dies.
Yeah. Well, that's the funny thing, too, is that line, got me too, because it's like when my grandpa died, that's what my grandma said to my grandpa. Oh. So you can rest now, and I was like, holy crap, because it's like, it's crazy, like the simpleness of like a line, like it's a simple line, and like, it's okay, you can rest now, like you can put it in any situation, and that's just one emotional line, even though it's like the simplest line to possibly say. Like they could have made that so more convoluted. They could have had that such a I'm not saying it wasn't, heavy-hearted, but, like, you could have easily, like, kind of, like, made the line differently, but the way that they made it just simple was, like, it's okay, you can rest now. Like, I don't even remember her saying that in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, will you be able to rest? I don't even remember her saying that line. But yeah, just that one line, I was just kind of like, wow, kind of like brings, you know,
It was very emotional.
because he like technically in reality he's been working his ass off since 2008 when he
Yeah.
became Iron Man.
Yeah.
You know, and it was even emotional when he first came back after Captain Marvel brought him back.
Mm-hmm.
And he took the thing off his chest and was kind of like gave it to, I don't know who he gave it to.
Steve Rogers.
Yeah. And he's
That
like,
was a good scene too. He's very stressed out again.
yeah.
And
He has to shave.
He has to shave.
Yeah.
But there's the tensions between him and Captain America still aren't resolved.
Yeah.
And he's like, if I was able to, if you would let me like build a peacekeeping machine, this wouldn't have happened. And he's just blaming everyone.
Yeah.
Which is good. It showed that.
That's a
there's no
typical
resolution.
Tony Stark kind of thing to do with his ego, where it was kind of like
That's
ego,
true.
where his ego took over and was like, he's still Tony Stark in that moment where it's
Yeah.
just like his same kind of douchiness to him too.
Yeah, and then even after the 5-year time jump, you can see that like there's still tensions there. Like,
Yeah, when
I
they
feel
go
like,
back to meet him at the lake house.
Yeah. I feel like him and Captain America never fully made up, but he's just like, we can set the table for 6, stay for lunch, but we're not talking business, we're talking shop. But then at the end, in the end scene, it's Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man.
Yeah.
And they're all fighting Thanos.
Yeah.
Which is, again, like another bringing the story full circle, a bookend on their characters, because those are
Yeah.
the big 3 of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah,
Marvel
and well,
Cinematic
it was even
Universe.
in the end of that scene too with what's his name, where it was reversed from Infinity War, where it was Spider-Man saying goodbye to
Yeah.
him instead of Iron Man almost saying goodbye, like kind of saying goodbye to him, even though he didn't really flat out say.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like it was like the son Tony Stark never had kind of thing. It was like a relationship that he and his dad, I think, kind of mirrored. I don't know. I mean, it seems like that's what, because obviously we know that Peter Parker never knew his dad.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was kind of like he saw him as like a father figure. That's why it got me emotional the first time in Infinity War when he died, was because it's like, I thought the way I viewed it was that, Spider-Man viewed him as like a father figure,
Mm-hmm.
even though like he would always, say, hey, Mr. Stark, kind of thing. Like he always, like that's what got me emotional about that, because it's just that whole like father-son relationship, it was like, Tony said goodbye to him when he kind of like, well, he didn't say, like hugged him kind of thing, because Tony Stark, I could never hear him say love. And then it was like, at the end he got to say goodbye to him.
Yeah.
And it was even like, at the end, I don't think even the tensions between Tony Stark and Captain America were fully resolved still. Not 100%.
Not 100%.
But it was enough for Tony to like, Captain America to move on and live with his life.
Yeah.
Knowing that, like he didn't, Tony and him had a relationship at the end. Well, maybe it wasn't perfect, but it was kind of like, it was enough to the point where...
It was enough for them both to move on.
Yeah.
Or in Tony Stark's case.
Literally move on.
Literally move on.
Yeah.
But I liked, too, the line that Pepper says, we'll be okay. It was just very affirming, but also...
It was simple, too.
Yeah, but also she is a billionaire, probably, from running Stark Industries.
Well, I don't think that was going through her mind originally, but it's just
But,
like...
they'll be okay.
Yeah, and I think, I think she meant, like, the relationship with his... Because I think that happened to Tony, right? His father died when he was young.
Yeah. Yeah.
So...
Well, like, college age.
Well, still young.
But still young.
Yeah, and it's like his daughter has to grow up in a world without him.
Mm-hmm.
But she has that hologram-looking thing, too, so...
That was good, because we knew he died, but then there's a voiceover of him, and I was like, where is this coming from?
Yeah.
And then it goes to the hologram.
Yeah, it was good.
I liked that funeral scene, where they panned over everyone.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Again, just to see that, like, the directors are acknowledging that. They're acknowledging everyone in the MCU.
Yeah.
And now they all know about each other.
Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, they didn't have, what's her face? Nick Fury's right-hand lady.
They did. She was at the bottom of the stairs. To the right.
Oh, she was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you saw
I
her
didn't
for a
see
split
her.
second, but
Oh,
she
is that
turns
the
her
one that they
head.
like? Is that the one? Yeah, they moved her and she like shifts a little bit and you don't like recognize it right away.
Right, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't recognize her right away either.
Yeah. I
And
was
then,
I was like, oh, I don't remember her seeing her there.
and then that guy that no one recognized in front of...
Oh, the younger guy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who was that?
The kid from Iron Man 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no one recognized him, but like
He was
everyone
older.
everyone knows who it is from like articles online.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
I mean, I liked it. It was still a really good connection.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then I like how they brought back Happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
his Aunt May.
Oh,
was
yeah.
there.
Yeah, who was oh yeah, that's right. Oh May. I remember was there. Yeah. That was just like it was a good culmination to really just end. You know? And then the fact that they had his original heart thing
Yeah.
and they put it on
That
as
was good.
proof that Tony Stark has a heart.
But I wonder if they had a funeral for Black Widow too.
Yeah, well that would have been another like 10 minutes that they were like, "Oh, we're already at the 3-hour mark."
Yeah. That was sad. Her
Yeah.
dying.
I mean, you know,
But she's had her moments. That
yeah,
character
and she
definitely had her
knew. She
moments.
acknowledged the fact that like that was her time too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because she has no one else. She didn't have their family besides the Avengers, but she didn't have any direct family. At least Hawkeye had the ability to actually get his whole family back.
Yeah. So Black Widow has has her own movie coming up. What do you think that's going to be?
Is this Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah.
An origin story?
I think that's the rumor, but I was wondering. So after Infinity War, when Gamora gets thrown off the cliff, we see her in the Soul Stone after Thanos snaps his fingers, and then he's in this orange world, and there's a little kid Gamora.
Yeah.
So like, again, I'm basing this off the comics, but in the comics, the Soul Stone contains its own world where it can trap souls.
Mm-hmm.
So if Gamora was trapped in there, if the same thing happened to Black Widow, she could be trapped in the Soul Stone. And because it's a cosmic stone, it could be both Gamora and Black Widow inside there.
Mm-hmm.
So I almost wonder if her movie could be her getting out of the Soul Stone and coming back to life.
I think chances are that it's gonna be an origin story.
Yeah. I would like an origin story too, but...
Because they show flashbacks of it in earlier movies about how she became who she was and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's most likely going to be an origin story. Because not many people know about her as a character. You know, her
Yeah.
where she comes from and how she became who she is.
Do you like how they brought Gamora back?
Yeah, like I said, even though I didn't have an emotional connection, I thought it was a good way to bring her back
Mm-hmm.
and have her in the movie instead of just like a 2-second cameo or something like that.
And again, with the way they wrote their own time travel rules,
Yeah.
if she comes from the past to stay in the present, it somehow works. Where like Gamora still died at one point, but now she's back.
When she was like, oh yeah, when she came, yeah, she gave either that or him or a tree.
That was
Yeah.
that was a good line.
Yeah.
Yeah. She saves Quill and then she punches him or
Yeah.
knocks him out. And yeah, she's like, I chose him.
Yeah.
And your choices were him or a tree.
Yeah.
That was a really good one. Oh, another good line. America's ass.
Oh, yeah. I gotta tell you, Cap, those pants are not doing you any favors.
And Ant-Man's like, no, it's you look fine.
That's
America's
America's ass. And then when he knocks himself out, and he's like, damn right, that's America's ass. Yeah, that was good.
Oh, and then he lifts Mjolnir.
Oh, yeah.
Thanos is like one punch away from killing Thor,
Yeah.
and then the hammer goes to Captain America.
That was cool.
Yeah.
And I like it was like, I knew it.
Yeah.
Does that happen in the comic books?
I'm sure it's happened at one point.
Do I acknowledge the fact?
Probably a few points.
Yeah. 'Cause I remember that from one of the movies where he moves it slightly and Thor's like, what the heck?
Uh-huh.
I like how that was a good bookend for him too.
Mm-hmm.
Getting his hammer back, you know? He had both the axe and the hammer. That was pretty cool.
Yep. Oh yeah, and then their time travel rules. Did I say this already? Also allowed Nebula to kill herself from the past.
Yeah.
To save Gamora.
Yeah.
Which worked because they're really, like, she's evolved a lot. So it's almost like she's saying, no, I'm not that person anymore.
And it wouldn't have mattered. She would have been snapped away. Most likely.
Hmm.
Right? old Gamora. Remember when she shot her? So
I don't know.
Because Gamora wasn't there, so what are the chances of her getting snapped would have been the same thing, right? Because Thanos snapped. Oh, have you seen that yet?
What?
Or people are asking spoilers on Google or something like that, and it's him fading away, him snapping away.
With the Infinity Gauntlet that you can click on and it...
No. It's actually Google searches, and people are like, "Who has Thanos killed?" And it's when he snaps the fingers and everyone kind of just turns to dust.
Yeah.
That's what happens to spoilers and stuff like that, and acknowledges about
Right.
Thanos, and it just kind of dusts away.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You type in Thanos in Google and there's an Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, that's what you're talking about? Oh.
Yeah, and you click on that.
I've only seen it on Facebook, that's why.
Half the results go away.
That's pretty funny.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And you click on that again and you see the time stone activate and then all the results come back.
Oh, really? That's funny.
It's really cool.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good acknowledgement by Google.
It is. Yeah, that was another fun part of this movie, just seeing all the advertisements and commercials.
Yeah.
There was one for, was it Audi, maybe? It was with Captain Marvel. They're talking about how the times have changed and how technology has changed. And
yeah. And they bring the car up or something like that?
I think it's Audi.
Yeah.
But,
well, Audi's the only, I think that's the main sponsor.
And the woman's like, now we have to take pictures of our food. And Captain Marvel goes, is that avocado on toast?
Oh, yeah.
It was funny.
Yep.
I want to talk about the beginning real quick with Iron Man and Nebula, because he taught her how to have fun, and I never thought about that, but
made her more human.
Yeah, she never knew what fun was, and she tries to beat up the paper football.
Oh yeah.
He's like, no, you don't need to do that, but then she admits yeah, that was fun, and they have a handshake. It was really interesting, and it just shows that her character is growing, too.
Well, I feel like they were forced to bond together, too, because they were the only two left on that ship, so it was just we got nothing else, So, any other last words?
I'm sure after I hit stop, I will think of a million more things to talk about.
You should have to create another episode.
Yeah. But do you have anything else you want to talk about?
I think we really just covered the entire movie. No one has to see it now.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. It was a great movie and a great arc for all the characters.
Yeah.
Also a good point. Where do you think this movie can go? Or where do you think the MCU can go from here?
Well, they're going to actually have to make another Black Panther movie. Mm-hmm. At least one more. Captain Marvel. Maybe do the all-female Avengers looking the cast you said you wanted to do. I don't know. There's so many characters. There's so many things that they can spin.
Yeah, if they want to do another Asgard movie, they have Valkyrie leading them now.
Loki. Oh, he's getting his own TV show, right?
Yeah. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder what that'll be about.
Yeah.
Because, if he escaped with the Tesseract, maybe he's somehow still alive?
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. Like I said, they made up all their own time travel rules.
Yeah.
We got the next Guardians movie, if Gamora did get snapped away with Thanos' army, which I don't think she did because she wasn't really Thanos' army, but if she did, and they don't bring Gamora back, then they have Thor now to replace her.
Yeah.
And the Avengers can start over with Captain Marvel leading them, and it's a 5-year time jump, so the kids are older, Hawkeye's kids, and Scott Lang's daughter. They could become the Young Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, for sure.
But that was Endgame. And a lengthy discussion, but I hope you enjoyed. And again, this is Marvel Therapy Group, so you can find us on anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can subscribe to us, like the videos, whatever you do on social media there. And feel free to reach out to us with any ideas, comments, feedback. And thanks for tuning in.
See ya.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's Marvel Therapy Group, where together we can work through our comic thoughts and learn to live beside them. Views expressed are of the host only and do not reflect Marvel Studios or comics in any way. Hosts are in no way qualified to provide therapy. This is simply the name of the podcast. This has been another Marvel Therapy Group session.